I have arrived. Hello, everyone. This is Pomegranate Doyle of the podcast Gas Pomegranate, as you probably know because you're watching this. What I think is going to happen is people will start to gather and then I'll start talking a little more seriously. But here's my introduction. Low tech.
You got a problem, you don't know what to do, your dreams are strange, and you're seeing things too. The world is full of mystery, life's more than you can see. You can ask Pomegranate, you can ask Pomegranate. She's a priestess.
Hi.
Hi. Low tech. I'm trying to learn how to do it so I can get it done low tech. Interesting that it's not in focus. Get in focus, camera. Well, I'll edit this out later. We're gonna have some technical problems today. I don't know why. Well, it's foggy on my camera. I don't know if it's foggy on yours. Today I'm going to talk to you about time while I attempt to get my camera to focus on me. It's not doing it. Well, let's just be foggy. I can't figure it out. Hi, everybody. This is Pomegranate, and I found out why people want you to hit the subscribe button all the time, because then it notifies you of when I'm going live. And so if you want to come here and ask me questions live after my little talk, then you can do that. And or go on Facebook. I don't know why this is, since no one's here, and I can probably edit this later. Why are we not getting in focus? Nope. It just says close for it to be in focus. Okay. Well, I guess this is a technical problem I'll deal with later. I'm trying not to let technology stop me from going ahead. So I shall just go ahead with a somewhat close-up view of me. So here we are today. And what I want to talk about today is time magic. So previously we discussed, you and I, what would it be like if we got our brains to fall out of the triangle of victim, villain, and hero. That's a triangle that we get stuck in, and then that sets the world as we know it. And we would let go of that and replace it with the idea that our life is framed by gifts and challenges, that we receive all the gifts of the world. Like Inanna in the myth of Inanna claims the May, we get born and we can claim the May, which is the gifts, and that we also have challenges. And these challenges are just built in. Birth announces it. Birth announces to us that we have challenges. So that was what we talked about last time. Now this time I want to build on that and come into telling you about the magical properties of time, because that's one of the birthrights we get. And it's a really interesting one because it seems like it's a clock, really. We're oriented towards clocks now. This is a new idea amongst the Homo sapiens. And so when we are talking about time magic, we're trying to talk about what is time, how is it powerful? How can we have a relationship to it? What about the past, present, and future? What's the difference between a clock time and infinity time? These are all sort of interesting things. And why is it we're able to go through time in a way that makes it, I have to get really close so it's not, my camera won't focus, so I'm not too out of focus. So that time is something we actually can slow down. Like that seems like it went by in an instant, or that seems like it took forever, or even the feeling of not actually being in time. So, what for me, magically, um, which means magically means I have access to it. I can use it with my own personal power to understand it and then engage with it in a way that works for my life and gives my life breath, allows it to open up. That's what I mean by magically. Use my personal power to allow things to give them breath to my life. I'm always looking for calm and openness in as my life goes. So time, and as far as I'm concerned, is an element, and that element, an elemental. So we work with, or I work with, air, fire, water, earth. If you're working with the Chinese medicine and Chinese stuff, you're going to go air, water, metal, wood. It's different. First Nations people, they often have the same four elements that Irish people have. So it's whatever elemental you experience. For me, time is like the sixth dimension, one of the six is the sixth dimension of the elements where we can move or have stuff move through us and let it go and predict the future, come up on something new, and also be in the moment. So, time is an elemental that we can call upon. There's a guardian of time, like all the elements have a guardian. And time itself can be your ally, and you can lose your relationship with them. And then you feel like it's kind of your enemy or it's trouble. Like we can all think of times when we experience time as a problem, right? Pressure. There's a pressure in time. And that's a particular way of relating to time. And I personally don't find it helpful. I find it very distracting, and I feel like it's my relationship with time has gone wrong when I'm feeling pressured by time. And I get very pressured by time. So how do I get out of it? So is the question. And how do I get into a good relationship with time so I can have it as a relationship? One of my master superpowers is I can make people forget about time. I let they forget about time, and that time goes by and they come out of the trance I put them in to go, we're in this moment, and they go, what time is it? Often I do this very late at night, and then everybody wakes up and it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock, midnight. I used to do it till 3 in the morning. I don't do that anymore. Everybody goes, oh my God, I don't know how I'll get to sleep now. It's like, you will. As soon as you leave here, you'll want to fall asleep. I don't keep people up past 3 a.m. and past 11:30 anymore, 1 midnight, somewhere around there. Anyway, I'm going to look at my notes. So when we think about time, what makes time? Well, is it the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun so that we have a day, and then that actually prescribes minutes and seconds and all of that? Yeah, sure, why not? That's one way of looking at time, except for when you think about it, the sun doesn't rise or set. And instead, what happens is the sun sits there and we go, rotate, rotate. We go away. We turn away from time, and then we come back. I mean, sun, and then we come back to sun. Um, and that's another way to think about it. And we can also think about it as seconds on a clock, seconds, moments, seconds on a clock, or we can think of it as infinity and all of the things in between. So, how do we get in a relationship to that so that we can use it? It's an elemental. It's a little bit mysterious because, well, if the sun isn't, if you're not spinning around the sun, is there still time? It's when you move away from a star and there's nothing to rotate around, is there still time? When people are put into solitary confinement, or when they do those experiments where they go into a dark room, they lose all track of time. If they don't have the sun telling them what time it is, they lose track of time. So we don't have an internal tick, tick, tick clock in us that can keep track of time. Um, that's interesting. Why are we not biologically have an internal experience of it? Why do we have to get something outside of ourselves to relate to it? And then, of course, there's the thing that happens that as we spin around and see the sun and don't see the sun, it actually has an effect on our bodies. We do a thing called aging. Except for, don't you agree? There, you still kind of feel like a 25-year-old or 21-year-old. Like I'm almost 60. I still feel like I'm in my 20s or early 30s if I had to pick a number. So my bodies respond to it, but I'm not responding to it. Interesting. All right. So, what I want to offer you is a way to get involved with time that allows you to, well, it allows you to step out of time because, really, in a way, time is an element of being born onto this planet and being able to step into time. We like to think about and write stories about time travelers. And the truth is, we're the time travelers. This is the story. We're getting born into time so we can experience limit. Time is a limit because things fade away and they come towards like what will happen next? What will happen next? And that is the experience of being a time traveler in this time traveling vessel that I have here. This is the time traveling machine. And I can't quite get used to it. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't quite get used to it unless I pay a lot of attention. So I'm gonna take us into a little space where we can see time from a different perspective. And what I want to invite you to do is imagine that you are on a carousel ride. You're sitting on one of those pretty painted ponies and it's going up and down. And like the going up and down is like minutes and hours. And the whole big round thing is you riding on the year. And every time you come back around, another year has gone by and the pony's going up and down. And you're having that, you're like caught up in this merry-go-round called time, called life. Life and time go together. And you're right in the middle of it. And you're so you don't know anything but this. You don't know anything but sitting on this merry-go-round. Imagine that. And the merry-go-round is going around and you're going around and you can't stop it. It never stops. You can't stop it. And that's your experience. That's our experience of being in time. So imagine now that there's a little seat and it's off the merry-go-round in the very center. Imagine there's a little chair right in the center where everything is still and nothing is moving around. And that seat is your place to go sit outside of time. Means you have to get off that pony. You have to let go of hours and seconds and pressure and time and watches and clocks. And you have to step down and then you have to make a little leap. Imagine you're making a little leap outside into the middle of time and you're finding that chair. We now step in and sit in that chair. And as we sit in that chair, we're sitting down into a throne of infinity where time is infinite. It's still time, but it's just like there's no beginning, there's no end, there's none of that stuff that you were just experiencing. There's no years, no seconds. What there is a continuality of everything at all times. A continuality of everything at all times. And when you do that, when you sit into that throne of infinity, this is what it's like when you're dead. Fun things to know when you're dead. When you shuffle off the mortal coil, you'll shuffle off that, I guess, that relationship to time where you're in it and it's running you and you're not running it, where you're in infinity. So let's just sit here in this little chair and watch that merry-go-round go. From here, we can see it. And if you watch it, you can see all of the things that are happening. You can see how when things come around again, there's always kind of like a loop, almost a loop or a full circle, as they call it, a full circle moment. You've been doing all these things. Here they come again, the same things. Here they come again, the same things. Now, those might be gifts, those might be challenges, but things tend to repeat in our lives. And you can see it from here of the place of stillness of how much energy there is going on there. It's really kind of intense to ride that merry-go-round of time. And if you just imagine yourself looking to the left, look to the left. Here's here's what's coming. This is the future. The future is on your left. This is my imagination. The future is coming. You can barely see it. Psychics, that's what us psychics do. We come and we can barely see it, but we can get hints. It's moving fast, a little streaky, but here comes the future. Okay? You're sitting right here in the present, in infinity. And then if you look to the right, that's already gone by, right? So when that's already gone by, you're looking into the past. Fantastic. Come back here. Here's the present. Future, past. Future, past, present in infinity. And the past is rolling around and the future is rolling around. And the present is wherever that wheel is in this moment, right in front of you. Okay, so now past, present, future. Why doesn't that feel good when I'm in it? Sometimes I think about the past and I'm like, this is beautiful. I have nice thoughts. And I think about the future and I go, oh, it's going to be so beautiful. But most times my brain likes to think about the past as something that's causing me problems. This terrible thing happened when I was in the past. This is why spiritual leaders want you to stay in the present. They want you to breathe and touch your body and look around your space and see what's present. They want this because we get lost in the past and often it's worrying about the past, which my therapist tells me worrying about the past a lot is a source for depression. And he says looking at the future fretfully a lot is a source for anxiety. And I'm like, that makes sense to me. So, okay, but why do we perceive it? What's the point of time if we don't perceive it? So I'm going to give you a little trick now for you. So the first act of magic is stepping outside of time and just allowing it to roll around you peacefully as you sit in infinity. And you can see that it's just one construct. It's a beautiful construct, but it's only one way to experience time. You can be in the second, the minute, you can be in the rolling year, or you can come also to this place of infinity where it rolls around you and it's not as meaningful as you think. And we can get out of that pressure cooker of time. Sometimes we need a break, right? But I want to give you now is a technique that I developed for myself to keep myself sane. And that technique is a technique I use to stay out of the depression energy or the regrets or the past or the isn't it terrible that that happened and woe is me. It also keeps me out of the victim, villain, hero mode, and also to keep the anxiety down about the future. My problem is more about anxiety about the future and less worry about the past because mostly I'm forgetful. So I have Witchheimers and I forget everything. So I do worry about the future. So my technique for you is this. You sitting again, return. I bet you got back on time. I bet I did. Return now back to the infinity center of that merry-go-round and allow yourself to see the past go. And if what our brains are programmed to do is to think about the past in worrisome ways. This is a part of our brain. And according to Joe Bolte Taylor, who wrote the book Whole Brain Living, get it if you don't have it, get it, it's everything. We look at the past and you might have a story. Now, a story that might come up for you where you have a regret, where you don't like it, or you feel put upon, or you feel like a victim, or it's just like, that bad story. One way to handle that is remember that anything that happens in the past has gone, and that means it's starting to change. The story has decided to change. It will change the farther you get from it. Like, you ever have one of those arguments where somebody says something and 5 minutes later you say, but you said this, and they say, I didn't say this, and you say, I think you said that, and play the, wish we had a videotape. Even 5 minutes later, the past is hard to remember. So what I do is I look at that, and you might want to pick a little small, troublesome problem that you have in your past thoughts and allow yourself to just rewrite that story from a place of you are a person who has been given many gifts, as we all have, and you're a person who's been given many challenges, that's the point of planet Earth, and turn that story into one where either you have been given gifts or you've dealt with a challenge, or both, given gifts and dealt with a challenge. This is time magic right here. We recognize the past is fleeting away and changing. Let's change it to what we want to shore you up. Make sure it's kind. Make sure that new story is a kind one for everyone involved, because that will shore up a kind life for you. So then you do that, and then you come back to present. You say, I will be in present, and you might have a feeling. An emotion may come up. In my practice, I used to practice that people would have a feeling for 2 minutes. And if you have that feeling for 2 minutes, it will then complete itself. We don't need to have the feeling for more than we need. Okay. So you just have that feeling for 2 minutes, and it turns out that's scientifically true that you only need 90 seconds to have a feeling. I give it 2 minutes. So have that feeling. And then in the present, after you have that feeling, ask yourself, is there any small act you can do right now, because we're in the present, to help you with that memory of the past, help you anchor it to gifts and challenges. So that's the past. One small step that you can do. This is time magic. We're going to anchor to the past. We're going to write a past we like. Okay? And then we go to the future. This is the one I need. We look to the future and we go, oh no, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, we're like addicted to this. The news is addicted to this idea. It's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible. This is actually factually not true. The future is not going to be terrible, but we go towards it. It'll have challenges in it, like regular life. And we go, I say to myself, the future is coming. You know what? All future happenings, I say to self, are happening, are anchored in the present. Okay, so something's coming, I don't know what. I come back to the present and I say, what do I need to do right now about this anxiety in the future? Where is it anchored to? Is there anything that I need to understand, or I need action I need to take in the present? And usually there's nothing. Just like, actually, mostly the answer to me on that is smell, hear, look for something beautiful. Remember, and in other words, remember all the gifts. The challenges will come when they come, and you will be able to handle them, but look for the gifts in this moment. Your job is to handle the challenges. You'll learn while you're doing that. You'll feel like you can't handle it. But until they're present, be present with the gifts. I mean, holy moly, the present's pretty good right now. If it wasn't good, we'd be up and doing something else right now. We would be up and doing something else right now. So that's the technique I use for time. And also, if I want to slow time, I get back into that infinity chair and I go into it's all open and it's all possible. And then sometimes I get on that fun carousel, and I jump on and I get into time and I get into minutes and I organize things and I make it happen and I get into things. And that's fun too. But remember, time is an element. Time has a guardian. Time is your friend. For me, it's obviously showing up as a carousel. And time, you can explore all aspects of time and use it to your advantage. And the number one thing that my guardian time says to me is never do anything that you don't want to do ever. Now, I think time is kind of crazy when he says that to me, when they say that to me. When the horses never do anything you don't want to do. It's life's a carnival, Palm. I'm like, okay, I try to do that and I'm getting pretty good at it. But literally, the prescription is for you. Try that. Try that. And if you can't do it for an hour, do it for half an hour. If you can't do it for half an hour, do it for 10 minutes. You can only do what you want to do. And mostly when I go, what do I want to do? And I can't think of what to do, it's usually go lay down and rest, lady. All right. So you can do it for 10 minutes or an hour just to start practicing. Never do a single thing for anybody else or for yourself that you don't want to do, says time. Give it a go. Try to meet your guardian. we'll probably get into that a little bit later, meeting the guardians. All right. Is there any? I know there's a couple of you on here right now. You guys got any questions? Let me just look. Lots of little stars say yay. If there's any questions, give a type and we'll talk about it. Hi. Hi, Ann. Amber. Something is nothing. No questions today. If you want to get a reading from me, you can go to Patreon. There's still some slots open this year for tarot card reading from me. Also, I have other classes on Patreon, which are Gods and Goddesses I Adore, or Divine Ones I Adore. It's as low as $3. And I know there's little slots, but I found out you can make up your own amount of money you give me, except for the tarot reading. That one's set. You'll get the class and you'll get a reading from me sometime this year, and that's what will happen. Also, if you like to, please subscribe. There's a reason for it. I can't quite understand what it is, but I'm sure it's good. You'll get a notification that I've gone live. That's for sure. Wait, here's a question. Okay, yes. I need to rewatch this. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anna. All right. This is the thing I feel like doing, and I will continue to do summer. Maybe once every 2 weeks or once every week, depending on how I feel like it, depending on when I want to do it. If you subscribe, they'll give you an announcement about it. And then you can come over here to, what is this thing I'm on? YouTube. And look, it got me back in focus, everybody. Yay! All right. And at some point, I might try to do something on Patreon where we all get in a room together so I can see your faces. Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming to watch. You can ask Pomegranate. That's me.